Had the privilege to write the foreword to Lynn's book. I think this is a very, very important book. There is no other book of this kind. There's a fantastic amount of ignorance about this subject. It's actually disgraceful, the amount of ignorance. Some of this may be familiar to some of the people here, but it's not familiar to the wider public. That, first of all, many people think that almost all Jews emanate from Poland or Russia or Germany. They're not aware that the Jewish populations of the Middle East were larger than the Jewish populations of Europe until fairly recently. And in fact, in 1930s in Baghdad, the percentage of Jewish population there was higher than New York or Warsaw. It was the most Jewish population, proportionately most Jewish population in the world. Today, there are only 5 Jews left in Baghdad, reportedly. And it's very important that Lynn has written a book to explain the rich history of Jews of the Middle East. I certainly didn't know a lot of this before learning from Lynn, really. For example, the first finance minister of Iraq was Jewish. The first most famous novelist of Iraq was Jewish. The leading lights of the Egyptian cinema were Jewish. The first underwater film sequence in the world was filmed by a Tunisian Jew. Also in sport, the world bantamweight boxing champion was a Tunisian Jew who was later killed in Auschwitz. People are not aware that North African Jews were also victims of the Holocaust, all of which Lynn explains in her book. So as far as I'm aware, there is no other popular general interest book on this subject, and it's belatedly, it's been a long while coming, and we have to thank Lynn for producing this wonderful book. So, okay. I'm also just, there are also famous people of Middle Eastern Jewish origin. For example, Jerry Seinfeld, the American comedian, his mother is a Syrian Jew, for example, or Bernard-Henri Lévy, the French intellectual, is an Algerian Jew. Anyway, I'm also just going to ask my very good friend Magdi, who was the Arab Affairs correspondent of the BBC, who's Egyptian, who has also made a program for the BBC previously about Jews of Egypt, to just say 1 or 2 words if you want to.